Welcome to Joomla Juice, episode 15. Steve Burge is our special guest today. Steve is a Joomla SEO and SEF. That's search engine optimization and search engine friendly guru of types. Steve runs a business called Aledia, and he's going to be telling us about what he does to make people's sites sing. And he's got plenty of good tips, and he's got a new book out, an ebook, which we'll be announcing two lucky winners who'll be winning a copy of the book each, and also a copy of Massacre's SEF Advance. Now it's a grey Sunday here in the UK, whilst the rest of the Joomla team will be at the Joomla Day in the Googleplex. From what I hear, they're enjoying a lot of good food over there, so thanks Google for helping host the event, and thanks for putting on such a good show, guys. A special mention to Ryan Ozymac, who's put that together. So have fun over there today, and we'll catch up with some of the people who've attended the events over there, including the Core Team Summit, and we'll be talking some more in future shows of Joomla Juice. If you've ever seen the movie Deliverance, just think about it, picture it, and this is somewhere near where Steve Burge works from, with his company Aledia. And Steve, welcome to Joomla Juice.
Hey, thanks, Pete.
Is it true? Do you really live in the wilds?
Yeah, we live in a beautiful part of Georgia, on one of the lakes north of Atlanta, but it's got kind of a bad reputation because of that movie Deliverance.
So is there a country actually like what you see in the film, where that scary scene where they're being pursued by the locals?
Well, some of the locals still work around here.
Oh. So you've got an internet-based business?
The guy with...
Yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, the guy who has played the banjo, the little kid, yeah. And some of the other people they work in restaurants around here, and I think they got pretty mixed feelings about how it's treated this part of North Georgia. I think on the one hand they feel kind of slandered, and on the other hand some of the people I've heard say that it's good because it scared the Yankees away. All the northern retirees that will avoid this part of Georgia now.
Well, it scared me. I've only bothered to watch it once. I couldn't watch it twice. So you've got an internet business, which again proves portability. Recently, I interviewed a chap who works from a beautiful exotic island in the middle of the Atlantic. And here you are in a not so exotic place, but equally exotic, I suppose, in that it's not a big city.
No, it's so easy now just to pick up. If you have a Skype line, you can connect with VoIP anywhere. It's great to work in a nice part of the country without having to live in a big city.
Now, it's unavoidable. I was going to ask this question because that is not an American accent. How did you end up in that part of the world?
Oh, that's a long story.
Give us the abridged version. That'll be okay.
Yeah, when I graduated from college, I went to teach in Japan for a couple of years, and went on vacation and met the girl who'd be my future American wife in Thailand. Ended up travelling through a whole bunch more places, including Australia, lived in Sydney for a while, and back in the United States in Philadelphia, in England for a while, and through a whole long process of visa shenanigans and different problems, we ended up settling in Atlanta, near where my wife's family live now.
Very good. So you're well travelled, and in that time, when you said you were teaching in Japan, your career path, how did it lead you to IT, and in particular PHP work?
Well, I'd always been building websites, and the teaching job I had in Japan it was a pretty comfortable existence, I guess. They didn't work us too hard, and so in that time I had quite a bit of free time, and looking to make a bit of money, I started building websites for different people I was connected with, and it's basically something that started off as a part-time job, and it snowballed until it pretty much ended up with me having two jobs, one in the evening after work and the regular day job, and one of them had to go in the end.
Yeah. So how long have you been around Joomla, or were you around Mambo times as well?
Yeah, we had a company called North Lake Design that were pretty involved in providing Mambo services, and to an extent that's how we ended up getting involved in search engine optimization work so much.
Yep. Which is the topic for today. I know I've been rambling, but yeah, we're talking about search engine optimization today.
Yeah, we were really ranking pretty well and getting quite a lot of business through that North Lake Design website, and it was, I guess, part of the reason why we were able to move from a part-time job to taking the company full-time, was because we were getting quite a lot of business through NorthLakeDesign.com.
Yeah.
And then we started to think about maybe adding more services, some component development and some SEO work, and so we decided to move away from the design part of the name. And when we tried to move from North Lake Design to Aledia, which we thought was it was a more corporate sounding name. It had it didn't tie us down to particularly being a design firm, but we could offer more services, I guess, without pigeonholing ourselves. And we did everything correctly, and both sites just dropped off the face of the earth. North Lake Design and the new site basically just vanished, and we basically had to give myself a real crash course in SEO to try and build the site back up and get some of that business stream coming back in again.
And when you say vanished, was it vanished from Google or vanished overall?
Basically vanished down to page 5 or 6 of most keyword results, which I guess as far as Google is concerned is more or less vanishing. If you're not on the front page, then the business stream is going to disappear.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. That, I mean, I've been watching how people can disappear like that, and it seems to me that Google from time to time does what it would call an update, and it's like shuffling a stack of cards.
It is. It's like an earthquake, I guess. You know it's probably going to come at some point, but you're never quite sure when, and you know the effects are going to be pretty big when it comes. You have the little incremental changes every day, every week or so, as you move up or down one or two places, and then big quakes every 2 or 3 times a year.
So, I mean, there are people that make a full-time living out of using AdSense as their revenue generator, and I read this week where there was a guy who's gone from $1,500 a day to $100 a day based on Google Update. How does somebody like that recover their position?
Oh, with great difficulty, I think, if you're relying on... I guess there's two ways to rely on Google to make money. One is in terms of having a site simply rank well.
Yeah.
And getting all your traffic through Google, and then you can either get them to click on your ads, or you can sell them a product. And the other way is to, have a really...
Yeah,
I think the guy who owns Can...
Yeah, you're disappearing on me, mate. I don't know what's going on. Are you running anything in the background?
Does that sound any better?
Yeah, we just kept... I kept losing audio.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
I guess the other way to do it is to have something like candy.com, or obviously the king of them all is sex.com, in which case you can make a lot of money from Google without much risk, simply because people are going to constantly be typing in your domain name and visiting without having to go through the
search process.
Yeah, without having to find your site ranking well. And I guess the people that have the great domain names are the ones that have a very steady and solid income.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have to rely on Google's ranking to drive your traffic, it's always going to be a bit more of a precarious existence.
Yeah. Okay. Now, you've written this book called Search Engine Optimization for Joomla. Joomla SEO book. And I've had a bit of a read of this, and it's got some interesting topics in there. And even from my own experiences, you're obviously trying to squeeze as much as you can out of the existing 1.0 series of Joomla. And there's plenty of good advice in there, and components you can use to enhance that experience. Now, on the forums, there are some people who argue that you don't need to do any of this. What would you say to them?
I'd probably point them towards some of the clients we've dealt with, who they've either made some changes to their Joomla site, or they've moved from another platform to Joomla and really encountered a lot of problems. I think a lot of Joomla sites do go very, very smoothly, and I think the people that are saying you don't really need to add any of these plugins are the ones that have managed to handle it very well, and they haven't encountered any particularly rogue components or any major problems with Joomla SEO.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of people out there who are really doing pretty well without having to pay particularly close attention to their Joomla sites. But on the other hand, there's a lot of people that are having a lot of problems.
Yeah. So, okay, if somebody is looking at migrating a site from, say, a large static site to a CMS like Joomla, what sort of advice would you be giving them from the outset?
In terms of migrating from a static site, you really have to weigh the pros and cons. I guess the pros is that Joomla can be such a powerful tool for ranking well, because it's so easy to add new and fresh content. The downside is, I guess, you have to pay pretty close attention, mainly to the URLs that has been produced. I think it's probably the problem we see most often is that the current version of Joomla seems to produce a lot of extra URLs in terms of some of the components, in terms of the item IDs, in terms of the PDF and the print buttons tend to create a lot of extra pages which have very low value.
Yeah, that's really weird. That and so in terms of the expression, is it canonical links? Yeah. Do you approach it so that you endeavour to create that type of navigational structure so that when Google comes along it sees one ID?
That's the ideal situation.
Yeah.
That if you can set up your site architecture in the right way so that Google isn't going to index multiple versions of your pages. For example, if you turn off your print and email buttons, if you try to avoid pagination on the pages, if you try to avoid approaching a web page from too many different menu links, for example, I guess each time you point a menu link to that page, you create a different URL with a different item ID on it.
And hence you've got the issue of Google perhaps interpreting that as duplicate content, which you'd incur a penalty on their scoring system.
Yeah, that's right. It's basically probably going to be a recipe for lots of pages on your site syncing into the supplemental index on Google.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, you've kindly offered us 2 copies of your book.
Yeah, that's right.
And for this show, and Emir Sekic, he's donating 2 copies of SEF Advance. So that's a grand total of approximately $200 worth of prizes this week. So what's next? You've got some more chapters to come, I read, and it looks like this book's an evolving animal.
It is. We've had quite a bit of feedback in terms of extra things we can add, and obviously it's going to be updated for Joomla 1.5.
Yep.
There's going to be a lot of SEO improvements for the new version of Joomla. They really seem to have taken quite a lot of good advice on board in terms of their plans for the next release of Joomla. And I guess search engine optimization is such a the sands are ever shifting, and so if we just left the book and published it, it would be out of date pretty quickly. So
it makes sense. So for the price, it's $47. Is that right?
37.
37. Okay, $37. Do you get the new chapters included in that price? Or how does it work?
Yeah, it's going to be unlimited updates.
Oh, cool.
Unlimited lifetime updates.
For the lifetime of the book?
Yeah, that's right.
So what have you got coming up? What are the material you've got writing underway at the moment that's going to be new?
The next chapter that's going to be added to the book is going to be about RSS feeds.
Okay.
And how to use them to promote your site effectively. There's quite a few extra components. Hey, Pete.
Yeah, we'll just keep losing each other. You said the next chapter of the book's going to be about RSS feeds.
It is. I guess the way Joomla is set up at the moment, it's hard to create too many precise RSS feeds, and so we're going to review the components which are available to produce more RSS feeds. And
okay, so we've got RSS feeds on the way. What else have you got?
Correct. Well, about a week ago, we went through the main search engine friendly URL components for Joomla, and we published that on the blog. A pretty thorough review of SEF Advanced and RTO SEF and Open SEF, because a lot of people, they see them and find it difficult to decide which one to choose. And a lot of people gave us feedback and pointed out that in addition to those three, there's at least another 3 components and plugins available that will create search engine from the URL. All of the options, and to help people decide, do I need RTO SEF, do I need SEF Advanced, Open SEF, which one is right for my site? And it's really ends up being a pretty complex issue. We have SEF Advanced running on some of our sites and Open SEF on others, because it's really a case-by-case decision, and hopefully we'll be able to give people some information on which they can make a pretty smart choice.
I just wanted to finish up. You mentioned you're quite impressed with what's going on with Joomla 1.5. Can you summarise what the differences are for somebody like you who's looking for the ability to make SEF work for his clients?
Sure, there's going to be a lot of improvements basically out of the box with the new version of Joomla. There's going to be simple things such as the site will automatically redirect from the non-www version of your site to www.mysite.com.
Yeah.
Simple improvements like that, all the way up to a lot of improvements with the URL structure of Joomla. I think the biggest problems we see with a lot of clients are the ones that are using the default URLs with Joomla. They end up with lots and lots of duplicate content problems.
Yeah.
And I think the stuff that Johan is working on in improving the default URLs is really going to solve a lot of problems that people have. And also in terms of the content and the coding, it's going to be much easier, for example, to add H1 and H2 tags to content without having to hack the core code. they seem to have taken on board a lot of really good ideas and good advice when it comes to improving the SEO on Joomla 1.5.
Oh, this is where it's good, like community members such as yourself having a voice and having a bit of a plug now and again, because if you think about it, a lot of core team members are not publishers, and it's the end users who cry when their Google rank drops.
Yeah, I guess Joomla definitely has a lot of different audiences to consider, and the non-profits maybe aren't quite as focused on their rankings.
Yeah.
But the business users who come to Joomla, for them it can be make or break, and so it's going to be much easier to recommend Joomla for those businesses that are very focused on their rankings once 1.5 comes out. At the moment, we recommend Joomla and say, yeah, it's a good option for you if you pay close attention and you're willing to do a bit of work on your SEO.
Yeah. And
with 1.5, we'll be able to say, okay, out of the box, it's going to be easier to manage.
Yeah. So in your experience, how many people in business are aware of how important it is?
Increasingly so.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people really get interested in the subject when they see how expensive their AdWords budgets are.
Yeah.
Once they find themselves paying $1,000 or $2,000 a month for their AdWords budget or their Yahoo advertising budget, then they start to get focused on trying to get organic rankings much more quickly once they see the advertising budget shrink.
Yeah, well, I mean, the types of spend that people are committing out of their advertising budget is ginormous. There's an article in the paper over here just before Christmas that suggested that Google's revenues from the UK exceeded ITV4's advertising revenues.
Yeah, I saw that too, and I think a lot of people, they often struggle to get a good return on their investment.
Yeah.
I think there are certain industries where Google AdWords is really successful. Certain competitive niches where people really can drive a lot of business and make a lot of money through AdWords, and others where it's really a struggle to make it pay.
Yeah, I haven't got that much experience with AdWords other than with some of my clients, but do you think that some businesses need professional help with how they go about that too, rather than just assigning a marketing person to do it?
It depends. It depends really on the size of their budget, but
yeah.
If the budget is big enough, then I would definitely recommend it. Google does provide quite a lot of tools to enable you to manage and record the ROI on what you're spending.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you an example. There was I had a meeting with some people who wanted to be number one worldwide, and they didn't care how much that cost. And I said, well, I'll do the calculation. And using AdWords, it was going to cost about £20,000 a month. Yeah. Because they were in a very, very competitive sector where everybody else was saying the same things.
There was an article in the paper this morning about the Virginia Tech massacre.
Yeah.
And it was saying basically how quickly some organizations such as most of the major American newspapers, how quickly they respond and they start bidding on the key phrases. For example, Virginia Tech massacre, if you search for it on Google, it's going to produce the Washington Post, the New York Times, and how cutthroat it is now.
So
how big some of the companies you need to compete with in order to get a good position on AdWords.
So they've probably got people that do this full time.
Oh yeah, most major businesses do. I think they will insource to an extent and have some people inside their company that specialise in this now.
Tell me
Thanks, Steve Burge, for a great show. And our prize winners are E. Elza from Spain. Well done. And also Joe Eisberg. Eisberg's pretty well known on the Joomla forums, and we hope to see you put that to good use, guys. The music today is courtesy of the IOTA Promonet, and you'll find there are links to downloads of these tracks on the Joomla Juice site, www.joomlajuice.com. Until next time, guys.
Ow, I just fell down the stairs.
Please hang up and try again.